As we continue on the path of understanding and dissecting the law of attraction and various techniques or methods that you can use to really remaster your ability of manifestation and creating your own universe, it's important that you recognize the body. You recognize the potential and the power of your human body. On this spiritual journey, a lot of times we neglect or forget how important the body is. We spend a lot of times in our mind. We spend a lot of times focused on our spirit, our souls, but we forget to understand the significance of our body and what it actually means and how it supports us in the creation and the generation of energy toward creating the thing that we desire, but also the ability to take action and move forward along the path of doing whatever it takes physically to actually materialize whatever you desire. So in this category, we're going to talk about very active or super active activities or methods that are going to support you in practicing the law of attraction. We've covered passive categories, right? We've covered the category of semi-passive methods, and we've covered the category of active methods. Now we're going to go into super active methods. And I know the term super can imply that is extreme, and it really depends on you, and it depends on how much you want to be intense about these approaches and these methods. But mostly these methods incorporate physical activity, because you have to acknowledge that the body is very important in this realm. We are spiritual beings, but we are living in spiritual and physical bodies on this physical plane of existence. And so we have to understand that the importance of the physical body is key toward getting you along the journey and along the path of creating whatever it is that you desire. So the first thing I want to talk about is joyful movement. That can be identified as dance, right? That can be identified as simply taking a stroll in the park. That can be identified as going for a hike. Now, the intensity level of that will depend on you. It will depend on how you identify with this ability to generate the energy, right? To allow yourself to focus, to push through mentally, to create a level of not only physical endurance, but mental and spiritual endurance. Because when you are challenging yourself physically, it isn't really just about the body. The mind is really the powering factor over what the body does. So even though the body may communicate with you with signals of pain or discomfort, it is really the mind that is in control over what the body actually stops doing or continues to do. And how that helps you in the law of attraction is that when you feel like you may be losing faith, you may be feeling like you're not connecting with what it is that you desire, the ability to push through and continue moving forward, even though times may feel uncomfortable, is something that is fortified and something that is built up through physical activity. When you are physically active, and you know how to actually push through what you think your limitations are, it transfers over into you along this spiritual journey, doing the same thing, pushing through and breaking through your quote unquote limitations. And that is how you advance. That is how you grow on this journey. So physical activities, yoga, when you think about yoga, the foundation of yoga is to, in fact, support you in connecting with your higher self. That is the foundation. That is the true teachings of yoga. It isn't just to really be physically active and flexible. It is really the practice of tapping into the oneness that is all things. And so yoga is a prime example of how you can take any physical activity and use the ability to push through, use the ability of connecting with your body to actually support you in connecting with the universe. And when you understand these connections, you realize that they are not really separate from one another. They are one and the same. They are just expressed differently. So your physical fitness is something that you have to learn to associate with your spiritual fitness, right? Don't just separate it. Don't think that the physical body is something that you don't need and that you are evolving past or, getting over or thinking that is not important. Your physical body is very important in this world. And if you know how to tap into and use the physical body, it will help and support you along the journey of creating the energy you need to increase the vibration that you're seeking to be on in order to attract the things that you want. You see, if you are not taking care of yourself, if you're not taking care of your body, if you're not eating the right things, if you're not, pushing yourself physically, then think about it this way. If you're not maintaining what it is that you already have, how can you maintain the things that you desire? And thus the universe will look at that as an example of, well, you're not really taking care of yourself. So how is it that you can take care of the thing that you say that you want? You have to really understand the significance of the body, taking care of the body, looking at the body as your temple, and recognizing that it is through taking care of yourself internally and out, that then you can align yourself completely in totality to attract the things that you want. Now, we talk about fitness. There are many ways of expressing that, right? It can be running marathons. It can be working out, weightlifting, right? It can be, like I said before, yoga. It can be hiking. It can be going across country running. It can be cycling. All of these things will allow you to tap into something more than you had been already. And this is the point. When you look at athletes, when you look at people who are physically fit or engage in physical activities, they are way more engaged and connected with something more powerful than those who aren't. And so this isn't really about pushing you to be some hyper-focused, physically fit person, but this is just to acknowledge that there is a balance that you must maintain. There is a balance between the spiritual and the physical. And when you understand the significance of this balance, it will help you along the journey of making sure that everything that you have is aligned, and then you can really focus on attracting the things that you want because you are maintaining the things that you already have. And when we talk about physical fitness, when we talk about these super active activities, we have to mention sex and intimacy. Sex and intimacy is one of those things that it can be a whole category in itself, but I have to mention it because of how powerful and how significant it is. When we think about sex, we often think about the pleasure, right? That is intense and extreme, but we also have to think about the energy that it creates. When we are intimate, we are generating an energy that is so powerful that it can create another life form or even multiple life forms, right? Multiple people can result in your sexual activity with your partners, right? Or with a partner, right? So you have to acknowledge that sexual intimacy, sexuality is a very powerful tool toward generating the energy and increasing the vibration for you to attract the things that you want. Now, you have to be mindful about how it is that you use this sexual energy. It has to be from a pure place. It has to be from the place where your intention is clear, where you are visualizing having the thing that you desire. You are in that state of mind. And if you are with a partner, then you are both being in that state of mind together also intensifies the energy and creates a space for you both to attract and bring to you the things that you desire. But you have to be in a space where you are really mindful about your physical body and how it can generate and be used to support you along the process of attracting the things that you want. So you see, there are many ways of using everything available to you, right? From the very passive, which is simply listening to music, to the very, very active, which is physical fitness, right? Marathon running, sexual intimacy. In all of these categories, you have an opportunity to tap into various methods and techniques on how to align yourself with what it is that you want. So there really isn't any excuses. It's not a matter of time, because any of these categories will fit into any time and place. You just have to be mindful, and you have to be at a point where you are completely focused and dialed in to what it is that you want. When you are dialed in, and when you are using your willpower to just simply initiate these methods and these techniques and continue to practice those over a given time, the course of a week or a month or 2 months, they will simply become a way of life for you. And they will really support you in reprogramming the unproductive thoughts and the unproductive paradigms to thoughts and paradigms and emotions and ways of being and existing and actions that will absolutely create the things that you want, right? That will absolutely materialize the things that you want. And so one last thing, and probably the most important thing when it comes to the law of attraction, we often associate the law of attraction with just your mindset, right? Your spiritual well-being and your imagination. But we have to acknowledge that, again, you have a physical body. That physical body is meant for movement, is meant for activity, is meant for action. So you have to take action along the process of your journey of materializing what it is that you want. You have to get to a point where, yes, you are visualizing what it is that you want. You are visualizing yourself having it, but you must act and be and position yourself and take action and move in alignment with that. So that means when there are opportunities, when you understand a step or a strategy to create and attract and materialize the things that you want, you have to act upon it. You have to do. And that is probably the most important thing that many people forget, because it is something that is pretty obvious. And usually in spirituality and metaphysics, the obvious tends to get overlooked. But we have to understand that when we are doing everything else, or we are doing the autosuggestion, when we are doing the journaling, when we are listening to the music, when we are, listening to the audio books, that it is with the intention of programming our minds to be at ease, to be more comfortable with taking the actions that we need to take to do and create the results that we want. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, where you will subscribe to my newsletter and also get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.